Shalom is your first and foremost. I do need to give all praise, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh, Hashem, Shabbat, Karkadash. Number one is the apostles, and else great millstone for teaching us his true peace and blessing to the whole collective Israel. Yahweh is the name of the Henry Hebrew Bashim is the name, and Yahweh Shai is the name of the begotten Son. Back in our lesson, and as you see within the title, going to be going to the woman's Kryptonite, which is something you should especially know, which is what we're going to be going to within this lesson, which is accountability, which you can see throughout various situations. The woman is always somehow the so-called victim. Especially within these relationships, somehow the blame is always pinned on the men, which you're going to see right here within this video. So just going to show just how wicked, how rebellious a lot of these women are, and why great trouble is coming their way. You wicked women will be, that pride will be brought low. These women will be humble. That's the word I was looking for. Because right now you see in today's society this rebellious spirit being pushed all throughout Babylon the Great, that these women are especially walking in. This I hate men type of spirit, man, which is just completely off and rebellious. You have adultery pretty much being normalized. And I'm going to say you're on both sides too. You're not just dealing with the women, but also with the men. But just going to these women within this lesson. Just brought up adultery because you see right here. So when she gets caught cheating, and now she has to get out your house. Going back to wanting the woman's Kryptonite, which is accountability. As I made that point, somehow the blame is always shifted on men. You have these women who will especially go on these comment boards, siding with the woman, saying it's the man's fault. He must have did something, yada, yada, yada. And yet when you actually, fully look into the situation, the woman is to blame. But that's what's, pretty much pushed in today's society. The woman is, always the so-called victim. They're on top in today's society, and somehow the man is always at fault. They're just going to show how, out of whack and how out of order things are. And what's further going to show the wickedness of the woman. So, it's like, still on the intro, but play this quick little video. Shouldn't be too long, it's like 10 seconds, if not less. Get a couple scriptures that came to mind, and the Lord's lesson will be edifying to the point. So let's dive right into it. So this is why it's especially wise to stay away from these demons, man. Speaking of these women, especially with how close we are to the end of this place, especially with how these women are in today's society, it's just not worth it, man. You're not saying to not go out and get yourself a woman if you want one, but it's just to be wise to refrain from that, man. You see a lot of these situations how these men get caught up in trouble because of these women. She'll call the cops, say you did something to her, and then you're the one that ends up getting arrested. Your story, is not heard out, or the case may be. Just want to give examples, because this is how these women act today. Just out of order, wicked, rebellious, and just not worth dealing with. These women are to be a pillar of rest. But in reality, they're nothing but a burden, man. Let's play it back one more time and we'll just get the scriptures. So look at this. She got caught cheating. She got caught red-handed. So she's the one at fault. The problem is surrounded with her. You see how she's trying to take it on the man because she's in the wrong. There's just no thinking in the brain. And this is why you get within scripture how they're deprived of wisdom. Demons, man. See what he commented to say. And you have people, making light of it. It says, sorry for y'all situation, but what company is that window from? Call the cops and send me the window info. People just, laughing about it, but these women are through, man. And you see various situations like that, but let's get these scriptures at hand, and that's what's important to the point. It says Proverbs 30 and 20. As such is the way of an adulterous woman. She eateth and wipeth her mouth and saith, I have done no wickedness. Going back to the point, so listen, going back to the title. The woman's kryptonite. You're going to be caught red-handed and somehow you're to blame. And I always like to use the example of how you see within movies, or you have young ones, to be caught in the cabinet eating cookies, or whatever the case may be. And you'll say, what are you doing? Crumbs all over their mouth, nothing. What you eating? Nothing. And you see the proof is right there. And that's these women for you, man. To be caught red-handed in the act. I didn't do any of that. The blame is shifted to the men. You get the point. Now, such is the way of adulterous woman. She eateth and wipeth their mouth and saith, I have done no wickedness. I mean, the point's there. Let's see what the G&T has. Let's see what this got. And this is how an unfaithful wife acts. She commits adultery, takes a bath, and says, but I haven't done anything wrong. Well, so you see various situations like this, man. And they always try to, find a loophole or, create excuses to justify the situation. Well, you weren't listening to me. You weren't caring for me, yada, yada, yada. You're still to blame. So just want to go to how out of whack things are, man. The Ecclesiasticus, or also in the book of Sirach, chapter 25, verse 19, that says, all wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman. Let the portion of a sinner fall upon her. And what's the portion of a sinner? As you get throughout the scriptures, I believe book of James, going to have, for the wages of sin is death. So judgment, man. As you can also get Isaiah 32, a great trouble is coming to you wicked and rebellious women, man. And it's well deserved. Y'all will quite literally be humbled. Especially these women pushing, that the man is useless, the man's not needed. We will see about that come to these last days. Keep that same energy, as you love to say. This is Job 39:17. That's because the Most High had deprived her of wisdom. Neither hath he imparted her to understanding. I mean, that's plain. Deprived of wisdom. You see how a lot of these things do not make sense at all. Their reasoning doesn't make sense at all. That was the book of Sirach. Ecclesiastes 25:16. It's done with the same chapters, different verses. And I said, I'd rather dwell with a lion and a dragon than to keep house with a wicked woman. You know how bad you got to be? That, the man would rather dwell with a lion and a dragon than to be with you? That should put it into perspective, man. Just how wicked these women are. And why a lot of men today do not want to be dealing with their bull. A lot of men are now starting to, realize that. Got the last two scriptures. Just want you to quick hit through spirits. This Proverbs 9:13. Now says, a foolish woman is clamorous. She is simple and knoweth nothing. That's why you have that saying, to sit there and look pretty, be quiet. A lot of women, today love to run their mouth. And that's why you see in a lot of these situations them getting their man in trouble. Because they want to run their mouth. Now the man has to step up and defend you. And look what ends up happening. He ends up getting taken out. Maybe deleted. And you in the process. Whatever the case may be. This is Sirach 25:13. And this is the GNT translation, Good News Translation. And it says, advice about woman. And it says, no wound is as serious as wounded love. And that's why you have a lot of these men today crashing out over these women. And you get in scripture how your men have gone out of their wits for women, with paraphrasing. It's no wound is as serious as wounded love. No troubles are as serious as the troubles that women cause. And it's just plain. And like I said, I just want to make a quick lesson, go into that video dealing with the woman's kryptonite, especially dealing with the first chapter we got, Proverbs 30 and 20. Going to such as the way of an adulterous woman. And you see how they continue to push the blame elsewhere. They're not at fault. They're not to blame. So you see accountability is that kryptonite. But point was made. Lord's love is edifying. Do close out and give all praise, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh, Bashem, Al Shabbat, Shem, Karkadash, and Shalom. See you next one, Lord's will.